So you want to learn how to make an automatic home solar system, and that is why you are here, right? In this video, I'm going to share you how I designed and built my own solar system that's been running automatically for 3 years now without fail. And I'm going to share it to you in step by step right now. So watch until the end and let's get started. Hi guys, Wenz here. My professional background is an electrical electronics engineer. I have been in the power plant working environment around the globe for more than 18 years now. To cut it short, I simultaneously built an on-grid and off-grid solar system for my home with added automation feature, and it's running continuously until now without failure or interruption. So here is what you will about to learn in this video. 1. You will learn how to build an off-grid solar system. 2. How to build an on-grid solar system. 3. You will also learn how to automate your solar system. Learn how to tie the on-grid panel to off-grid system and vice versa. Lastly, number 5, you will learn the tricks on how to prolong your battery life. So let's dive right into the details. One, how to build an off-grid solar system. Materials needed: PV panel, cables including grounding system, circuit breakers, charge controllers, inverters, battery, and this is the portion of my off-grid solar system. We will dive into the details and it's coming up. Two, how to build an on-grid solar system. Materials needed: PV panel, cables including grounding system, circuit breakers, inverters, accessories. 1. Battery indicator. 2. Timer. 3. Voltage controller. 4. Interposing relays. 5. Cooling fans. 6. Switches and outlets. 7. CT and power. 8. Adapters. 9. Terminals. So I laid out my circuit plan according to my budget, and then I went out to my local shop to purchase. Now let's begin to work out on this mess. Start assembling according to your plan. The individual connections, the solar panel supports, cable pulling, and terminations. Working until night. Installing and testing the off-grid solar system to my designated control room. Installing the separated solar lighting fixtures for off-grid solar loads, accessing the ceiling for wiring connections, and some terminations and relay tests and assemblies. After all, finally it's working. Now let's dive into the circuit details. These are the PV panels configured for parallel setup. Each panel is rated 100 watts, so it makes up 17 volts in total. However, the currents will add up. So I put down 32 amps DC rated circuit breaker, and I sized this circuit breaker based on Ohm's law, which is 100 watts each panel, making up 300 watts for 3 sets. If power is equivalent to current multiplied by voltage in DC. Therefore, current will be equal to 300 watts divided by 17 volts. That makes up 17.6 amps, and the nearest commercially available circuit breaker is 32 amps. So if you want to know more about the solar system sizing, check out the link I put above for details, or I don't want you to miss it, so I also share down in the description. This is my MPPT charge controller and it is rated 20 amps. It has one plus-minus input for the PV panel, then one for the battery input, and finally the other one for the output to the inverter. I make sure all these units are grounded to protect the unit and personnel from any stray currents, which can be lightning or short circuits and other electrical noise that may harm our system. So these are the components for the off-grid system, and the rest is for the grid tie or on-grid system. The main difference is that the off-grid is using battery for storage, while the off-grid directly hooks up to the inverter down to the household common 220 volts outlet. Important thing to note down is that this grid tie inverter automatically switches off the output when there is an absence of household power in the outlet. This is to protect any lineman doing any maintenance from the outside or at the nearest electrical post. The other circuit breakers here follow the same sizing principles. You can check that out from the link I shared here for the proper sizing, which will be another topic. So how do I automate my solar system? The voltage controller is one of the components that make this system automatic, which is it will automatically turn off the off-grid system, particularly the inverter, in case the battery capacity reaches below 60%. I set to this level so the battery will not experience fully drain, which is in most cases the factor why the battery does not last longer. Once the system turns off, it will wait for the sun to charge the battery again until it reaches 85%. That's the only time I allow the inverter to turn on and supply the load again, while the sun continuously charges the batteries and supplying the load via off-grid inverter. Another feature of my setup is the inclusion of a timer. I put a timer and set it to activate when the sun rises until it reaches an effective sunrise angle for my location at 7:30 a.m. Then I set it up to 5 p.m. before sunset. Therefore, the household loads will be supplied via my battery bank until 60% charged. The timer both activates and deactivates my off-grid and on-grid solar system at the same timings from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. To further automate or control your system the way I did, you have to access the on-off switch of the inverters. Here, I drilled the hole for the cable entry, and note that you may avoid your warranty in doing this, but because I have an extensive troubleshooting experience, I take the risk of avoiding the warranty. This is the simplest way to de-energize the inverter, or otherwise you can put the switch on the incoming DC supply to the inverter, which will require even more complex relay type switches or contactor types. In this case, I just put two interposing relays to switch on and off both of my inverters. I use 2 pieces 12 volts interposing relays, therefore I have to put two 20 to 12 volts adapter and plug it to the household AC line like shown. There are many ways to do that, or you just use a 220 volt relay, therefore you don't need to have an extra power adapter. I also put an energy meter that you can buy online. For me, this is to determine how much my grid tie system is putting up to my household consumption. So how do I interconnect the grid tie system PV panels to the off-grid system? One way to share the PV panels to either system is to use a bypass circuit breaker. So I usually share my grid tie PV panels to the off-grid system, therefore I configured putting the circuit breaker in this way as shown. This is a manual changeover, so when doing this, I usually have to switch off the breaker for this grid tie inverter first, before turning on the bypass circuit breaker. My PV panel's total watts for off-grid system is about 300 watts, while my grid tie system is about 600 watts. If I share my grid tie PV panels to my off-grid, it makes up 900 watts in total. If that's the case, I usually load up to 35%. That is 35% of 900 watts, which is 315 watts total load. But it doesn't matter actually, because during the day, when the sun is giving so much energy and the battery doesn't go down till 60%. Therefore, how much load you put doesn't matter. It's all automatically taken care of by the system I established. So how do you take care of your battery? First, I chose MPPT controller, which is more effective on charging rather than PWM or pulse width modulation. I put down in the link below the difference between the two, so I don't need to cover the topic in here. My MPPT charge controller is properly set to the type of battery I have, which is the 100 ampere hour deep cycle battery and is a gel type lead acid. The charge controller will manage the proper charging setting related to equalizing charge, boost, and flow charging for the battery. Therefore, it is properly taken care of by the controller. Another way how I protect my battery is through voltage controller, which I added to maintain the charge of the battery until 60%. Below this level, I already cut off all the loads in the inverter by putting the inverter to off until the battery recovers the sunlight charge until 85%. And then I do some discharging for the battery until 20% once a year. And this is how I take care of my battery bank. Alright, that's all about it guys. I hope you learned something from this tutorial, and please leave a comment if you have something to ask or share. Thank you so much, and till next time.